MS University is my alma mater. I have studied in this university. I did my BSc, MSW, LLB, 3 degrees and 5 diplomas from this university. And to tell you frankly, when I joined journalism, in none of my organization, they asked me for any degree or diploma from this university. Only a certificate that yes, I passed it out from MS University, they take everything on face value. When I was a student here, we were taught the definition of news. Uday bhai was my senior, and we both belong to the same school of journalism. Kirit Bhatt, the late senior journalist of Baroda, he was our friend, philosopher and guide. We fondly remember him today. And it was he who mentored us. And when we were student of journalism, we were given the definition of news, that if dog bites a man, it is not a news. If dog bites a man, it is not a news. If man bites a dog, then it is a news. Now these days, when I go to teach Mudra School of Communication or in Center for Development Communication or in other institutes to teach media studies, I teach them that if dog bites man, it is not a news. If man bites dog, then also it is not a news. If man bites a dog and if dog carries AIDS, then it is news. Tushar bhai, after passing my BSc Honors Mathematics, I thought that I'll do my post-graduation in Faculty of Social Work. But we always keep our options open. So I also tried for IRMA, Institute for Rural Management in Anand. And as luck would have it, I passed my written exams in both the institute, but day of interview was same. So I thought that, let me try my Faculty of Social Work. And there I spoke about investigative journalism. And I said that, I would like to be an investigative journalist. Now, Professor Sharma was dean in those days. He said, no, we don't want an investigative journalist to be in Faculty of Social Work. We are looking for a professional social worker. So I said, sir, after becoming a journalist also, I can do a better social work. I can become gatekeeper in the society, and I promise you that I'll become a good social worker. He said, no, we don't want to take chance with you. He said, sorry. Please try some other option. You should go to Delhi School of Media, or you try Hyderabad, or you go to, California University. They gave me good mental pep talk, And I told him, sir, look, I had this chance to going to IRMA, Institute for Rural Management, for my MBA, and I didn't go to that institute also. So then faculty members thought that, we must give chance to this boy, and then they said, okay, we will give you chance. But during your 2-day studies in this department, don't try to be a journalist. I promised him. But, in the very first lecture, Professor Sharma told us that you should argue with your professors. You should put your point, perspective, and don't hesitate in debating things. And in those days, when I was third-year student, Professor B.C. Parekh was our Vice Chancellor. And I distinctly remember that from this dais, I got the first prize in Vice Chancellor Trophy. And the subject was that for contemporary India, Marx is more relevant than Gandhi. And I spoke against the motion, and Professor Parekh spoke in the favor of motion. And I said that Gandhi is more relevant than Marx. And Professor Parekh, as you know, he is an authority on Marx. So then I started arguing with my professors, thinking that, my professor encouraged me to do arguments with them. And in those days, I was given the best placement in IPCL. And IPCL in 85-87 was considered to be the best placement in management or in social work area. You can be a good labor welfare officer, good personal manager there. But after 1 month, my professor realized that this boy is trying to act little smart, is arguing a lot, and is creating a bad atmosphere in faculty. So unanimously they decided that I should be shifted to mental hospital, and I was sent to Karalibag mental hospital for social work. And in Karalibag mental hospital, I met schizophrenic people, I met mentally depressed people, I met people, those who have got suicidal tendencies. I met lot of drug addicts, drug abusers, this kind of people. But thank God, because of that my field work, I can do better in Gandhinagar. Not only with politicians, but also with bureaucrats. So in mental hospital, I found so many young boys and girls, they were drug addicts, drug abusers. So as I promised my faculty members, I decided I'll not write that story, but I thought it is a good dissertation work. So I started collecting data, and I started asking them, from how do you get these drugs? And then, after doing my complete dissertation, when I became journalist, my first story was on this. I started writing with their modus operandi. The modus operandi is that if you go to this Fatehganj Kalyan with a motorbike, and if you have 10 rupee note in your hand, and if you continue your accelerator is on, a small boy would approach and he will take that note. The moment he takes that 10 rupee note from you, you just turn your bike on the reverse side, and another boy will come from the another direction and he will give you a pudiya in your hand. That is a sort of prasad. And with that prasad, you have to move. So in 10 rupee, you can get bhang in Fatehganj Kalyan Hotel, near Kalyan Hotel. If you go to this Sayajiganj Kalyan Hotel, I don't know those addas are still going on or not, but if you go to this Sayajiganj Kalyan Hotel, there was some Melody Mata Mandir. And outside the temple, if you see the bulb on, you just go and give 10 rupees to that pujari will give you a tablet. Likewise, I wrote the name of 30 addawalas in Baroda. That here are the 30 addawalas in Baroda who are spoiling our students from Faculty of Arts, Faculty of Performing Arts, from Home Science, and I gave the modus operandi of all these addawalas, that from where you can get what and how things are available. And believe me, I frankly admit with you, it was my first investigative byline story, and I could not sleep for the whole night because I thought my editor may kill my story, which did not happen. My story appeared. Then I thought he may not give me byline, but he gave me byline also. Then I thought that he may cut or edit those interesting juicy part of my story, but that also did not happen. It appeared page 1, 8-column big story. And late in the night, around 2:30 near that Samrat Hotel and ST Depot, I collected copy of that Lok Satta Jansatta newspaper. I read it myself, and then I went to VS hostel where I was staying. In the morning, my room partner woke me. He said, "Stupid, you didn't tell us that it is available in Fatehganj. We were all going to Sama and Sayajiganj area." When I reached my office, my editor told me that Commissioner of Police is very angry with you. You go and meet Commissioner of Police. So I went to meet Commissioner of Police, and Commissioner of Police told me कि अजय हद हो गई. Tandon Saab was the Commissioner of Police. Uday knows him very well. He is now no more. He said, पुलिस भी बेईमान है, अड्डे वाले भी बेईमान है. I said, sir, क्या हुआ? He said, 50% अड्डा वालास were not giving haftas. And 33% policemen were not, sending it to upward direction. And in the evening when I went to my office, so many addawalas were waiting for me. So I thought कि अब तो मार पड़ेगा. But addawalas came with a request कि बॉस अपना नाम नहीं लिखा इसलिए हमारा धंधा चौपट हो गया, जिसका नाम लिखा उसका धंधा डबल हो गया. तो please do a follow-up story. Please do a follow-up story. Now, jokes apart, to tell you the fact that I thought that I was doing this story for social work. but it turned out to be an anti-social work. It turned out to be an anti-social work. The problem with media, as Uday Bhai has rightly mentioned, and he has delivered such a nice, perfect, keynote address, that media is suffering from credibility crisis. Media is suffering from credibility crisis. And media bias, as he has rightly mentioned, is like an elephant in your drawing room. You can't afford to ignore it. You can't afford to ignore it. Sometimes you must see the spinning of news. Now you should try to understand the new vocabulary also. Spinning of news. Now, if I have to give you one example of spinning of news, you read today's newspaper. All the newspaper had given headlines of encounters. I knew about this on 14th November. If you read newspapers of 14th November, you can find a news item that Javed Akhtar and BG Varghese has filed a writ petition saying that all the 22 encounters of Gujarat should be thoroughly investigated. And Justice Aftab Alam Khan promised Javed Akhtar that in the month of January, after Uttarayan, we will give you quality time to listen to your writ petition. Now, sometime, if you observe the timing of these things, it would correlate with either Uttar Pradesh elections or Bihar elections, where you can see that Muslim vote would make a big difference. Now, this is not the one incident. If you see the another incident, that when Bihar elections were going on, Lalu Yadav as railway minister has appointed a Banerjee commission, and that Banerjee commission had given its interim report at the time of Bihar election, justifying that it was an accident and no fire took place inside the coach. If you see the nuclear deal going on between Prime Minister Manmohan Singh and Obama in the Washington, and Parliament was not in agreement with that deal, you know what happened suddenly? I distinctly remember date also. It was 21st of November. The deal was to sign in US, in Washington, and suddenly a national newspaper has leaked a story about Libreham Commission's report. And that Libreham Commission's so-called leaked report, you must have seen that, everybody must have seen that, was mentioning that Lal Krishna Advani, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, Murli Manohar Joshi and others to be charge-sheeted in that Babri Dhwans case. And Parliament forget everything about nuclear deal. Lalu Yadav and Mulayam Yadav said that yes, they should be hanged to the first available lamppost, and BJP started defending their leaders, and everybody forget about that nuclear deal. And Meera Kumar, Honorable Speaker of that House, she adjourned the House for 3 days, and meanwhile the treaty was over. So this is what, media is spinning news. I can give you so many examples of spinning of, news in media. But then I'll forget another aspects also. If you see, sometimes media does not take stand also. Now, you have to take stand. I remember when I was a student in MS University, Tushar Amar Singh Chaudhary, Honorable Senior Minister in Manmohan Cabinet as on today, he was my junior. His father was Chief Minister at the time. When his father was not Chief Minister, Tushar Amar Singh Chaudhary failed in all the subjects. He failed in all the subjects in medical college, in this Baroda Medical College only. And you would surprise, how many marks he scored? Out of 100, in one paper he scored 3 marks, another paper he scored 9 marks, in third paper he scored 12 marks. The highest mark he got was in anatomy, that was 18 marks. He got admission in that scheduled caste, scheduled tribe quota, and when he got admission, his father was not a chief minister, his father was an ordinary MLA, and then he became irrigation minister. Now, as luck would have it, Gujarat had a lot of communal riots and anti-reservation stir, and Madhavsinh Solanki had to resign, and suddenly his father became chief minister also. After his father became chief minister, you see the conspicuous rise in the brilliance of Tushar Amar Singh Chaudhary. Now this is all on record. This is all on record. You can see now right to information is available. In those days, right to information was not available. So what I did, one of my classmates, when we were taking lunch, in the mess, he told me, okay, thank God because of Tushar, the result of medical college is 100%. I said, how can this happen? Huh? Because in those days, passing marks in medicine faculty was 50%. I said, how can this happen? He said, okay, thanks to Tushar, his father is chief minister, so syndicate members, vice chancellor, everybody, they are extra charitable to him. So same Tushar Chaudhary, who was failing in almost all the subjects, got 93, 97, 87, 85 marks, But there was one Professor Das, he gave him only 8 marks in one of the subjects. And he said that, it would be the disservice to the society if I pass this boy. And he took a stand. The moment he took a stand, his dean wrote a letter to the health department. This professor is not doing justice with the students, so he should be transferred to some other medical college. And he was promptly transferred to Jamnagar College. The moment he was transferred to Jamnagar College, Tushar Amar Singh Chaudhary requested university to do reassessment. And in reassessment, another professor gave him 28 marks. Then university appointed a special syndicate committee for the reassessment or a grace mark committee. They gave him 20 more marks as grace marks because that was the highest grace marks a syndicate committee can offer. So total is 48. 2 marks left. Then vice chancellor, who was father of this vice chancellor, Professor R.C. Patel, who was his teacher in Faculty of Technology, gave him 2 marks extraordinary by using his extraordinary power under section 11.5a. And in 11.5a, vice chancellor can have power of syndicate, senate and everything, and gave him 2 more marks. And this Tushar Chaudhary passed the medical examination. And I wrote a story that Tushar Amar Singh Chaudhary, a brilliant repeater. And what I did, I got his last mark sheet and next mark sheet, and I just, published as it is. That when his father was not chief minister, this was his performance. When his father became chief minister, this is his performance. Uday Bhai has done follow-up. Now that Tushar Chaudhary is now honorable minister in central government. Anyway, time is limited. But point is, what I wanted to give message to my young friends, boys and girls, that, be a whistleblower in the society. Be a whistleblower in the society. Today, after 64 years of Azadi, I just wanted to share some of the figures with you. I had done a lot of homework for all of you, but time is limited. I just wanted to share some of the figures that after 64 years of Azadi and industrialization, only 6% of our youth has got employment. United Nations report says that India is the only country which has more toilets, which has more mobile phones than the toilets. 42% people are below poverty line, and we all know the definition of below poverty line. 40 crore people in this country are illiterate, which is more than the population of America. Our infant mortality rate is higher than the infant mortality rate of Bangladesh. We have highest number of malnourished children in the world. 46% born in India, which is worse than the 26 African countries. Education, There are a lot of details, but gender equality, inequality in this country is also highest compared to other nations, even Latin and sub-Saharan countries also. Dropout rate in this country is 50% up to the 5th standard and 60% up to the 10th standard. And now look at the paradox also. 15 crore youth in this country, official record, is unemployment. And today we don't get 6 lakh doctors, 15 lakh engineers, 30 lakh nurses, 2 lakh dentists, 12,000 pilots. We need 1,500 universities in this country, but we have only 379 universities available. Every 5th Indian is a diabetic. We have highest number of TB patients. We have second highest number of AIDS patients. We have highest number of malaria patients. But not even 2% of our population is covered under insurance. We talk about women empowerment, but every 18th minute, we find one case of bride burning. Every 29th minute, we find one case of rape, and these are all reported cases as per the Government of India report. In most of the cases, women generally don't go for reporting things. Our growth is not inclusive. Our development is lopsided. If you see the total property captured by 100 billionaires in this country, they possess more than 25% property of this country. We have more English literate people than Europe or US. I remember when I was in US with Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, I happened to meet Thomas Friedman, a learned economist of America. He said that when I was a child, my parents used to tell me that if I don't eat, properly on my dining table, my parents used to tell me, eat something, because children in India, they are malnourished and they don't get food also to eat. He said, today, I tell my children that if you don't study properly, Indian students will snatch job from you. Indian students will snatch job from you. But Indian students are very competent. I just wanted to share some good news with you, that despite a lot of criticism against Mr. Modi, Gujarat is growing. The economy of Gujarat is vibrant, and it is one of the most leading states in India. Goldman Sachs has reported that if Gujarat would be the nation, it would be one of the top 20 nations in the world. And the same report says about BRIC countries that India will be the 3rd largest economy in the world by 2050, next only to USA and China. Credit Suisse projection says that India's GDP will grow in the year 2015 at the rate of 10.5%, which would be higher than the China's 10.2% growth. India has the potential to become the #1 knowledge producing center in the world by 2025, says Professor Maselkar, who is Director General of Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. National Intelligence Council 2015 project of USA predicts that India will be a major regional power by 2025, and this is largely due to its technology and service-driven economic growth, mainly due to its youth, which is propelled by its relatively strong education system, democracy, and English language skills. And it is a proven fact that if there are opportunities, Indian students is always ready to tap them, and they are in a position to use it in the best manner possible. For the last few years now, we have been able to hear that, that there is a symphony in the Indian ears. But the bad news is, a lot of our share of agriculture is shrinking. Our share of agriculture is shrinking. 52% of rural workforce and 60% of our population depend on agriculture. But in GDP, the contribution of agriculture is only 18%, while contribution of service sector is 55% and industry is 27%. Industry and service sectors are growing at the rate of 9% to 10%, while agriculture sector is growing only at the rate of 2%. Finance Minister has recently admitted in a conclave that 36% of food grains of public distribution system is not reaching to the poor beneficiaries. After 61 years of our republic, 36% population is still illiterate. Gross unemployment rate, but the most important part which I was telling you, and which Thomas Friedman was also telling me, that 90% students in India who should pursue their higher education and should drive socio-economic growth of the country has no access to higher education. I'll just conclude my speech with one example. In Latin American country, there was a study done by United Nations for 35 years, and it is considered to be the biggest study ever done for education purpose. They said that in this study, they took two groups. One was identified by some experts, and they selected 25 children from slum, which was a targeted group, and 25, they allowed them to grow in their own natural manner. These 25 children were given the best possible educational facilities, and after 35 years, they found that these 25 children who were educated in the best possible, with best possible facilities, they were the students who became chartered accountant, lawyers, advocates, politicians in that country, and none of them were involved in any loot, rape, murder, or any heinous crime in that country. While those 25 who had grown in their own, they were all criminals, and none of them could grow in their personal life. Warren Buffett has studied this, and he has given a beautiful comment on it. He said that these people who could grow better, or he has given one more example, like Steve Jobs, who was deprived of his biological parents. 1 minute only, huh? I'm sorry. This is also a media control. Take it lightly. He said that in America, because children are getting best facilities, you may have, Bill Gates, who may be a dropout student from university, can become the most richest person in the world. Or you can have Steve Jobs, who may not be having his biological father or mother available to him, can become the most innovative person in the world because of their education system. Unfortunately, in India, we have the best youth. 55% of our population is between the age group from 16 to 34. And India is the youngest country in the world in 2020, as APJ Abdul Kalam has very well described in his book Vision 2020. But unfortunate part is, due to our poor policies, this youth is not getting proper opportunities. If they get proper opportunities, I think India can become superpower in 2025. We need not have to wait up to 2050. Thank you very much.